This episode is brought to you by Liquid IV. Whether you're working out, side on your tan, or running errands at the perfect pace, Liquid IV powder keeps you going with 2 times faster hydration than water alone. Because real life is extreme enough. Real people, real flavor, real hydrating. Buy a stick in store or at liquidiv.com with the code podcast for 20% off your order.
It's a great time of year for vacations, and that includes vacationing in the comfort of your own home. Brooklinen is here to keep you cozy all summer long with their award-winning sheets and home essentials. Brooklinen is the internet's favorite sheets, and according to Wirecutter and Good Housekeeping, Brooklinen has best-in-class bedding. So if you don't trust me or their 100,000 5-star customer reviews, you know these experts have done the research. Brooklinen uses only the highest quality materials for all of their products, so everything they create is built to last. I've been sleeping on their super soft luxe sateen sheets, which is great for this time of year, and the graphite color goes super well with the rest of the room's decor. So, shop in-store or online at brooklinen.com today to give yourself the luxurious sleep you deserve this summer. Use promo code OHD for $20 off your online purchase of $100 or more, plus free shipping on brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Use promo code OHD for $20 off, plus free shipping. It's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, episode 2244, and I'm Dr. Neal Malik. Hey there, happy Friday, and welcome to another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily, where I answer your health questions related to fitness, diet and nutrition, and lots more. You send in the questions, and I answer them for you. Oh, and if you do send one in and you're in the U.S., we'll mail you a copy of our hardcover workbook. If you're outside of the U.S., we'll email you a PDF version. Now, what's the easiest way to send in a question? Just email it to health@oldpodcast.com. Now, if you want to know more about me and my background and my credentials, definitely check out the first Q&A episode from earlier this month. But for now, I'm going to spare you from that long intro so we can get right to today's question and optimize your life. Today's question came via email. Shayna writes, "Hello, I love listening to the OLD podcast and I'm so grateful for them each day. My question, what is the truth about fruit and the sugar in them? I feel as though everyone will tell you to add fruit to your diet for health benefits, but at the same time, we're cautioned against consuming too much sugar and to consider the natural sugars in fruit we consume. Is fruit healthy with all of those natural sugars? Thank you so much." Thank you for taking the time to send in your question, Shayna, and for listening to all of the podcasts in our network. I will quote Cosmo Kramer from the TV show Seinfeld here. I felt like I haven't quoted that show in a while, which is rare for me, so this is perfect. A modeling agent once told Kramer that he looks very lean. Long story behind that, which I'll spare you from. Kramer is immediately flattered by this comment, of course, and responds with, I try to take care of myself. I watch what I eat. Just recently I cut out all fructose. Now, is that really necessary? Do we have to cut out all fructose, which is the natural sugar found in fruit? And to your question, Shayna, should we just consume it in moderation instead? I remember one of my patients was a big fan of fruit. Here's how I found out. As I do with all of those that I counsel, I asked this person to tell me about the types and quantities of foods they commonly consume. He proudly reached into his lunch bag and pulled out a large plastic container full of chopped fruit. The container held at least 7 cups of chopped fruit. I said, "Okay, so how long does it take you to finish that fruit?" His response, "Oh, this is done by mid-morning." I had to then explain why his fruit consumption may be a bit much. I will share some of that with you here. I'll start by saying that most people don't really need to worry about consuming too much fruit each day. That's because many simply don't consume enough of it. Most health agencies agree that adults should consume 5 to 9 combined servings of fruits and vegetables each day. But because of how this advice is worded, this recommendation can lead to confusion. Again, the recommendation is 5 to 9 combined servings of fruits and vegetables each day. the key words being combined and fruits and vegetables. For example, if we ate 3 servings of fruit and 2 servings of vegetables today, we would meet this recommendation. 3 servings of fruit plus 2 servings of vegetables equals 5 servings total. Or theoretically, you could consume 4 servings of fruit and 1 serving of vegetables and still meet this recommendation. While I like the intention behind this suggestion, we can see again it's easy to misinterpret. If we consume 10 servings of fruit each day, we'll definitely exceed this recommendation, but only in the fruit department. At this point, we may be thinking, okay, well, fruit is full of important nutrients, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Yes, fruit is full of important vitamins and minerals, but you've heard me say this phrase before, everything in moderation, and fruit is no exception. This is because when we strive for balance and variety in our diets, the nutrients in each food tend to complement each other. We're less likely to get too much of one nutrient and too little of another when we have a balanced diet. Now, yes, there is a concern about the sugar found in fruit. I'll get to that in a moment. But first, let's talk about fruit servings. I keep saying 10 servings or 1 serving. What is 1 serving of fruit anyway? Because fruit comes in all shapes and sizes, it's a bit of a challenge to define a serving for all fruit. So I'll give some general rules here. When we're talking about round fruits like oranges, apples, peaches, nectarines, and so on, if the piece of fruit is about the size of your fist, then that counts as 1 serving. So if you ate the whole piece, you would have consumed 1 serving of round fruit. When it comes to chopped fruit or smaller berries like blueberries, about half a cup would be 1 serving. What about strawberries? Well, 12 whole strawberries would count as 1 serving. When it comes to frozen fruit, here again, half a cup would be considered 1 serving. If we're eating dried fruit like dried apricots, raisins, and so on, 1/4 of a cup is 1 serving. This is because dried fruit has much of the water content removed. This means that dried fruit is a more concentrated source of fruit, so you can consume less of it and get about the same quantity of nutrients. And lastly, my least preferred form of fruit juices. 1/2 cup counts as 1 serving. Now, the reason I'm not a big fan of fruit juice is that it is the most concentrated form of sugar, specifically in the form of fructose. When we make fruit juice, it's kind of like we're pre-digesting it. Imagine what happens to that fruit in a blender. It gets broken down. It's doing some of the work that our teeth and to some extent the stomach do. So instead of having to bite and chew that food, we can just gulp it down. Some studies have found that taking the time to chew our food may not only slow how fast we consume those foods, but may trigger the release of hormones that help make us feel full. But if we quickly gulp this blended fruit drink, it means the body can easily absorb it, which increases the likelihood that it will get converted to fat. I'll explain, and we'll finally get to this idea of sugar found in fruit. The body processes fructose, the main sugar in fruit, differently than other sugars. The body can actually convert fructose to fat very easily. If you're consuming whole fruit, yes, you will get some dietary fiber along with that fructose, and that fiber will help slow down the body's absorption of fructose, hopefully making it less likely to be converted to fat. So I would say consuming whole, fresh, or frozen fruits would be the best. Again, this is because by eating the whole fruit, you'll get all of that fiber. It's going to slow down the eating process, which is going to slow down the absorption and make you feel more full. But consuming too much fruit, even in the form of whole fruit, can still lead to too much fructose consumption as a whole. In turn, this can increase the likelihood of that fructose being stored as fat in the body. So, going back to Cosmo Kramer from Seinfeld, do we really need to cut out all fructose to stay lean like he says? No, but moderation is key. I usually tell my patients to stick to 2 to 3 servings of fruit per day. Business owners know that hiring the right people can be a real challenge. Make it easier with Indeed. Indeed is the hiring platform helping over 3 million businesses do it all. Attract, interview, and hire all in one place. Don't spend hours on multiple job sites looking for candidates. With Indeed's Instant Match feature, over 80% of Indeed employers find quality candidates the moment they sponsor a job. I especially love that if you invite these or any candidates of your choosing to apply, they are 3 times more likely to apply to your job than candidates who only see it in search. Start hiring now with a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/health. Offer good for a limited time. Claim your $75 credit now at Indeed.com/health. Just go to Indeed.com/health and support the show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/health. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. ¿Estás disfrutando de mi podcast? Thanks to Babbel, I know what that means. Do you? Instead of paying hundreds for a tutor or fooling yourself with language apps that are little more than games, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons are designed by over 150 language experts to help you speak a new language in 3 weeks. Babbel is designed by real people for real conversations. All of Babbel's tips and tools for learning a new language are approachable, accessible, rooted in real-life situations, and delivered with conversation-based teaching. And that's what puts Babbel ahead of the rest for me. It teaches you a lot of the lingo that you won't necessarily learn in school, but instead would learn only by speaking with locals. Here's a special limited-time deal for our listeners to get you started right now. Get 55% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/OHD. Get 55% off at babbel.com/OHD. Spelled BABBEL.com/OHD. Rules and restrictions may apply. Thank you again for taking the time to send in your questions, Shayna, and for listening to all of the podcasts in our network. Now, if you want to send in a question to be answered right here on the show and get a copy of our workbook, you can email one to health@oldpodcast.com. Or if you want to hear your own voice on the podcast, come by oldpodcast.com/ask. Right on that page, you can record your question straight from your computer's microphone. It's really easy, and you can even play back your message and do retakes before sending it in. Or you can do it the old-fashioned way and call in your question. The number is 161-I-LOVE-OHD. That's 1-614-568-3643. Thank you again so much for doing that. Answering your questions is my favorite part of the show. All right, that's another Q&A edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for listening every day and all the way through. I hope you have a great start to your weekend, and I'll see you back here tomorrow where your optimal life awaits.